Hi everyone, this is Seah once again. Thanks for joining me. Right, if this is the first time you join our YouTube channel, right? My channel is all about having fun making coffee. I haven't been saying this statement for quite some time, and we do everything about coffee. We actually do a lot of unboxing videos on coffee equipment, coffee grinders, coffee accessories, coffee tools. We also do like a roasting video on the Kaleido M2 and M10 Sniper Pro. Right, so those are the things that we do. And of course, in our recent unboxing of this DF64E, right, this is a grinder that has been upgraded from DF64, right? So far, I've been using this grinder for about 3 weeks and it has been quite promising. It doesn't have any clumping issue. It doesn't have any clogging issue. The grind is just fluffy, right? The only thing that I want to make, I would complain is actually still the static issue, right? But of course, the static can be reduced by RDT, and we have introduced not my method, right? I have introduced in my other videos that by using the chopstick dipping with water and to stir the beans 2 to 3 times, they actually reduce the static drastically, right? So without further ado, let's open up this grinder. By the way, this grinder has been used for about 3 weeks. I have not opened this grinder since the first time opened to inspect the burr set inside. By the way, the burr set inside, let me show you. It's actually the DLC burr, right? Which is actually the diamond like carbon burr sets. Um, so let me show you the difference, right? Basically, this is the burr, right? This is the diamond like carbon, right? You can see that it is more graphite in color, right? Versus something like this. This is the Itamil, right? This is the Itamil, right? This is the diamond like carbon. So this is a lot more durable as compared to this, right? And the finishing, you can see it has a lot of difference. This is very blunt, finishing is not great, but the diamond like carbon, the finishing is really good, right? So that's the difference. Currently, my DF64E is installed with the diamond like carbon. So far, the performance has been great. All right, so without further ado, let me bring the camera closer, and I'm going to take out the screws and remove everything to show you what's inside there, right? The condition. Right, before you remove anything, make sure the power is off. Right, the power off doesn't mean that you just off this button. Make sure that your socket is unplugged as well to be totally safe. You can see I already removed the power plug. And now you can just use the Allen key that comes with the grinder, right, to remove the top chamber. But of course, let's remove the top first. Right, you can see the shaft, the coffee shaft will get collected um, over the funnel area, right? That's very common, right? So to open this, you just have to remove the two screws over here. This is my first time opening this since I inspected burst 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Right, so basically it's just two screws um, that secure the top burr carrier. Right, you can see the top is actually pretty dirty. Let me get a brush. Right, so this is the DLC burr. Right, I will also take the opportunity to dust it off. Right, so you can see that it's a lot cleaner now. It's as good as new, right? I believe it needs quite a bit of coffee to actually um, season the process. Okay, so let me bring you closer to the grinder, or maybe let me move the grinder closer towards us, right? Right, you can see that inside the grinding chamber, unlike the last time, there's actually, I would say this is as good as you can get. There's actually not maybe a few specks of coffee ground that's inside there. Other than that, you can see that everything is actually emptied out. Okay, let me try to zoom in to show you. Right, you can see inside is completely clean. Right, there's no coffee inside there. Right, so I will try to remove the two screws here. Right, and let me show you what it means by the static issue around the grinder exit chute. So I'm going to lower my camera to show you. Right, you can see that this area is a lot of static. Right, the exit chute is filled with coffee around the surface. Let's remove the dosing cup adapter. By the way, I have already sent this design to be manufactured in walnut. So you'll be very soon we'll be launching the walnut version of our DF64 or DF64E and F dosing cup adapter. Right, so let's see from the top again. Okay, so we need two Phillips screwdriver to actually unscrew the button that actually holds the timer. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong one. It's these two. One of them here. Right, the other one's here. And there's another screw at the bottom, right? When I show you around the static problem just now, right? That's where there's actually two screws there actually at the bottom there. So let me bring you down again. Right, there's actually one screw over here, which you actually hold on to the screen. So this is the screw I'm going to remove, not this one, right? So at the same time, I'm just going to dust off all the coffee ground here first. So it's good to have a mat like this so that it can contain all the coffee ground. Right, okay, so let's unscrew this. Right, so there is actually a connected wire over there, right? So you can actually unplug this, right? So you can see this is where the plug is. Let me try to take it out so that it doesn't get into our way. Right, so that's out. So basically just a display. Okay, so as you can see now, there are two screws holding on to the exit chute. So again, you have to remove that. Be careful not to drop the screw inside. Okay, let me get a tweezer. Okay. Okay, so that's out. And to show you the coffee, right? You can see the coffee around there. Okay, maybe let me switch on the light. Just give me a moment. Okay, let me find my switch. Right, I hope that give you a better lighting. Right, so this is the amount of coffee that is actually stuck at the chute. I'm actually expecting a lot more coffee. So you can see there are a lot of fine coffee powder that's inside. So let me try to clear this. Right, you can see this is the amount of coffee that actually drop out. Right. Okay. Since we are already, since this is already detached, let's just take the opportunity to clean it. The chute design is flat, unlike the design last time. Right. There's actually, I would say this design is slightly better than the previous one. Right. And you can see that the exposed motor, this is actually the solenoid wires actually wrap around the motor. And inside there there's actually some coffee powder that's inside. Okay, let me show you. Right, not too sure whether you can see. Right, you can see the coffee powder over there. Right, so not very ideal because coffee will tend to get inside there. Right, so when you open this grinder up, right, I think in terms of construction, I will say that the DF64 is easier to remove because personally I believe that this area they should seal it up so that you shouldn't be your coffee powder shouldn't be getting in touch with the copper wire, right? So this part should be shielded off, right? Let me get a vacuum cleaner. I hope my vacuum cleaner can reach all the way inside. Yeah, sorry for the noise. Okay, so let me show you the declumper design. Right, the declumper is actually stuck. I believe it's the two flap declumper design. Oh, it's a single flap now. Right, so you can see. Right now, they have only installed one declumper design. This design has been working okay so far. Right, coffee hasn't been stuck here. But again, you can see that when we try to clean out the grinder, right, the coffee powder tends to land inside here. Right, so I'm not too sure whether this is um, this is good, but it's good to have a vacuum. But the good news is the clumping issue has been resolved I would say mostly resolved. So there isn't a lot of clumping near the exit chute like last time. So I think that this version of the declumper is working well so far for me, right? Right, so basically you can see that there's not much coffee ground stuck after the usage of 3 weeks. Of course, I make sure I bellow out everything. And now let's install the declumper back. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fix back the declumper by screwing the screw further in. So right now, let me show you by bringing the camera down slightly. Right now, you can see that this is a lot better, a lot cleaner. So now let's fix back the exit chute. Sorry for shaking the camera. Okay, so just don't over tighten the screws. And then after this, right, we're going to fix back the timer. Right, just tuck it in, and then you can put it back, right? Okay, so let's screw in the screw at the bottom first. And secure the two screws on top. Right, so that's pretty much what you need to do. And let me show the top burr. I'm just going to vacuum out the coffee from there. Okay, and after that, we're just going to fix back the top burr carrier. Right, make sure that these two, right, is the cover for these two screws here. Finger tight will be good enough. Don't have to really tighten it a lot. Okay, so basically we are good to go. Right, so let's switch on the grinder and see how it goes. Hold on. Right, you can see that the coffee powder that we cleaned out just now. I think the moment you switch on the grinder, the force of the motor and the burr will actually push out all the fine coffee powder that's inside. Single dose, double dose, manual. Right. So far I've been liking this DF64E a lot. Of course, it is now an espresso dedicated grinder, but I think if you do mainly espresso, this is the perfect grinder for you. Yep. So I hope you have enjoyed me opening up the grinder, taking out the controller box for the timer, right, and show you what's inside the grinder, right. So just be careful when you remove the exit chute because the coffee ground can actually drop inside. But don't worry about it because there's actually a surface that catch the coffee. So if you can just get a mini hand vacuum cleaner like this, whereby the tip of the vacuum cleaner is smaller, so they can actually access inside. Right. So this is good enough to clean out everything that's inside there. Right. So this is Seah once again. I hope you have enjoyed today's video of me opening up the DF64E for you to show you how I actually do the cleaning up of and servicing of the grinder. Right. I believe you don't really need to service this grinder a lot, and you just have to make sure that every time you bellow out as much as you can. Right. some of my customers actually feedback to me that they use darker roast, and they're asking me whether these will actually clog up eventually if they use darker roast. I have been using darker roast for the past 1 week or so. I have not experienced any clogging, because I always make sure that I always measure my beans before I dose in, and usually I'll measure the output of the beans to make sure that the retention is close to zero. Right. With that, I know that the inside of the grinder is actually pretty minimal with all the retention of coffee ground. Right. The only thing about that this grinder that which still gives me a slight problem, of course, is the static. Right. But again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the static issue can be reduced by RDT using the chopstick method, right? And yep, I agree that the wiring at the side is a bit funny, but if you are just placing the grinder there and you don't really move it much, I don't see there's a problem, right? So thank you for joining me today. This is Seah once again. If you like our videos, make sure to subscribe to our channels, like our videos, and then share with your friends, and make sure you hit the bell button so that you will not miss any video that we have launched, right? So um, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.